Hello, everybody. Ryan Carpenter here with No BS Golf, presented to you by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. It is an exciting week, the U.S. Open. We are finally here for another major. Well, it gets closer. It didn't feel like it going in so much at first because we had some players missing. And all of a sudden, here in the last, so many 30 minutes or so, we're getting reports that Sergio's in, Adam Scott's in. So I don't know. It's it seems like no matter what we got going on around here in this old professional golf world, it's a constant changing thing. That much we know. And and then the other constant is Scotty, which seems to be impossible to even come close to taking down at the moment. So the interesting part about Scotty is he's just a ho hum fella. And there's some people out there that kind of go more in depth to this, and it's fine. He's a great player. There's no doubt about that. He's just not a line mover. He's not a, he's not going to draw people in from the outside world of golf, unfortunately, even though he's as good as he is. So he's just not an attraction. That's the difference. The hardcore player, the guy that's already in, going to really enjoy watching him play well, and he's kind of he's more like smooth, slow, and steady. That's how I kind of think of Scotty. Whereas a lot of people are trying to bring comparisons to Tiger, and Tiger was a smash in your face and then just run you over a few more times type kind of player, and a lot of it was attitude and outwardly the way he was perceived, kind of stuff. So, anyways. Big win by Scotty. No surprise. He's probably going to keep just going down to the end of the season, probably win the FedEx Cup, the whole dang thing. And there will be his premier year, his kind of crowning achievement year, maybe. Well, he may keep going. Who knows? But for now, he'll probably finish his year out real strong and on top. So, no surprise. But U.S. Open week coming to us, Pinehurst. It is an absolute gem of location, and I know a lot of people around here because it ain't too far up the road here. Many folks around here have been there plenty of times. I got actually a fella I just did an evaluation lesson with last week. He's headed up. He's playing a kind of a local favorite, Tobacco Road, and then heading to watch all these big players play. So fun trip there. Had two or three other fellas over the past month or so that have also made trips up there. It's a heck of a location. It's unique. It's massive. It's like some 20 odd golf courses now that they've got on site alone. And so it's going to be a fun week, but the easy way to kind of describe what's going on here is you get a different look. You don't have a ton of like thick fairway grasses and all that kind of stuff. Instead, you got tons of wasteland, if you will, like sandy, natural area. And then these players are hitting into greens that if you take like a thimble, right? Like if you know what a thimble is, if you take like a almost like a bottle cap, but then round it a ton, to where you just have this little top area that's kind of flat-ish, and then everything just slopes down and hard. That's basically the greens these fellas are about to face. And if they're hard and slick, even a little, you're going to get some crazy numbers, some crazy shots that look good that end up bad and end up worse because the next shot gets messed up because of how difficult it is. And now you're adding a stroke or two, and bam, we're off to the races. So, but it's fun. Watch the course. Look at the course. See how it's made. See what it looks like from a different perspective of playing this game. It's a heck of a location. Recommended by everybody, or for everybody. So, on to the weekend, on to golf, on to what are we doing here, folks? Well, need some comments, need some suggestions, but for now, it was a common theme here recently. Not surprised, I got a lot of new players, and basically tying in, what can we glean from the most amazing golf swing ever? Just kidding, I know, but Jim Furyk. Everybody said, "Oh, crazy swing." Well, go break it down. go actually understand the swing before you start, kind of throwing things into the mix. Well, while he has some aggressiveness at certain positions and the way that he moves about, there's no doubt about that. It's not as uncommon of a swing, say, compared to the rest of the Tour Pros, as many think. In fact, I would say it's not even remotely close to as crazy as some think. Because they're using the naked eye and not using a camera to break it down and compare. It's actually very similar to almost every other good player out there. So he just has the really aggressive steep motion to the top, then drops it down and turns and swings and hits and so on. Well, how does that matter? Well, it's an efficient enough way to do it because he's not doing the opposite. Most amateurs, the exact opposite in some way or another. And then everybody's got their own uniqueness to it. But in some way or another, almost all amateurs have the exact opposite. It's a very loopy, open face, inside, come around, bring it back over the top type action. And so what can we learn from Jim? Well, if you had to choose, I'll go Jim's way all day long, hands down. An upward move to do a drop back action, I'll take every day of the week compared to the opposite if that's my only two choices. And so that leads us to some of the things we were doing. We were doing a lot of over-undering, and that helped with defining the better path, the better road, the better move, the better direction towards a much higher and efficient and consistent golf swing for the future. In that realm, we also kind of broke open the way to understand cause and effect, because I feel like it's not understood. I feel like it's not even talked about for that much, on the big scale. And it's so important because it ties everything together, for one. So if you start here and then you move to this position and then that goes to this, well, the way that you go to the next is because your brain kind of thinks, well, I got to get, so how you react to try to get into the next position. It all is a string of motion and events that all connect to each other. And so if one thing happens here, that's going to affect this, then that's going to affect the next thing, and then the next thing, and so on. So that it goes throughout the entire swing. There's a chain link of events. There's a common exercise we used to do at Golf Tech, especially with the new fellas. Like, okay, everybody take out a piece of paper. Start with one thing for sure that might happen in the swing, and then connect it to how it affects so many other things throughout the swing. How many things can you put into your chain there? How can you draw a story, if you will? How can you come up with a way of saying this, then this, 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 and this? And so that's more on the quote unquote negative side. In other words, okay, well, you're doing all this stuff and this affects what you're doing. Sorry, but we need to undo this chain of events. Okay. But it also goes to the other side of the coin. When you start to begin actually forming, you get a player in a better position. So they got the hip angle that's required in order to rotate in the swing, and they got the handle of the club positioned correctly finally, and they understand the weight differential and the spine position and how important that is. Now they're able to move. Well, then you can start taking more of an input basis and changing things. And so you get like a pattern for one to emerge, like the over-under versus the under-over. But then you start really breaking it down into its, little pieces. Well, what if you set the club this way here? So after you get up and set, and then all of a sudden, if we take the idea of the under and then see what happens, well, you can actually start to take the video motion. Now, this may not relate to output right away because the player doesn't yet know how to hit the ball this way. So we'll get into that in a minute. But at least from a camera standpoint, from a feedback standpoint, probably the most important part, hands down. From a feedback standpoint, and I posted this. So if you go to my Twitter, okay, P45KDG. Like it, follow it, alert it, retweet it, please. There's often more. It doesn't mean the player is going to naturally just form all these new positions and motions and go play golf this way. It's not the way it works, but we can trace and see the exact same chain of events. We can see A, B, C, D, E. Wow, look at that. And all of a sudden, players got completely formed an idea, at least, of a new motion, a new pattern, where we're going with this. And so I posted one that popped up right away. We got into position. We changed the idea. Flinky do. It's basically what you go to your YouTubies and your Instagrammies and fix your slice in 5 minutes, folks. What they're doing is they're leaving out the details, and they're just saying, hey, look, we're just going to change your big picture. And once you do it just once and make connection, bam, oh, look at that. Hey, that's one hell of a beautiful shot. I ain't never hit like that before. But the problem is, like, for some players, it might take 400 swings to hit that one good shot. Some it might take 10. And then it'll be another 400 swings before they see it again because they haven't developed it. And so where I'm taking these players, like this one I posted, is this is the beginning stage of a new pattern forming. And now that the pattern is starting to take place, we're getting that pattern formed this week. By next week, I want to be able to get in there and say, great, are you comfortable with this? Are you better at this? Do you have to not think about it more? Great. Okay. Now let's connect. Where are we in this whole thing? If there's a hip position differential tilt change that's required based off delivery and angle, how does that affect that ability to get the club into AOA and a bottoming out ahead of the ball? Is there a squaring mechanism required? There's going to be. Is there, and that's face control basically. So we start to begin to finally unlock and get into the bigger picture details that everybody wants to get to. And so while on camera, it kind of says, well, hey, look, it's already kind of doing it. It is, except the player has no control over it yet. And that's the next phase. And that's the fun. Well, it's not fun phase always, but it's the fun phase that leads us to the fun phase, the really fun phase. Major output difference. That's where we're headed. So cause and effect exists, folks. And the main thing I wanted to cover there was that it does go both directions too. While one change does require other changes to make that one change work, one good change can already begin to influence and start to cause positive effects from that point on as well, too. So it's a very delicate balance of relationship. You have to be able to build off of that new cause and effect chain and build new skills into it to make it work. But the good part is it's taking us away from the negative cause and effect. And that's the more important part. And so it's really fun to see. And it's fun for the student. I mean, even though we might not be striping the ball yet 100% the new way that they're going to at some point here in the next few months, we can at least see in a closed environment, www.thegolfpub.com. That's why we're there, folks. At this point in the process, I don't want to be on a range. I don't want to be out with distractions. I want to be focused with feedback. And so they can see right away on the camera that, oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, okay, man, club, it's not way out there no more. It's not coming across and around, and it's not swiping into it. Now we're coming from this end. Oh, look at there. It's behind the hands and coming in, and bam! Hot damn, we're making some progress. And that's fun. That's the excitement that should be a part of this process. So don't discount Jim Furyk. A lot of people do. And they say crazy, weird swing. So it's you can take something from all swings that are of players that are good out there. And that's why, while we may not want to teach Jim Furyk swing exactly this, you still can understand that his pattern is what allows him to develop and become the player that he did one day. And he learned a different way. His dad read books and then just tried to verbally help him on the range. And that's just how it went. But there's good things about it, and it's relatable in a lot of ways to the bigger picture. From there, then we drill down and start to get into the details, and that's how we move about changing and working these swings into a new future. So a lot of fun this weekend. Players are moving on and getting down to business and going about their stuff, and I can't wait to get back to seeing them here this week. We need to have you. Where are you at? Where's your goals? Are you doing something that is having a lasting, developed change for your future? Something that will really help you develop into a whole new thing. And so we can do that right now, folks, at the pub. Sign up. Evaluations are still currently free. Just got to get that scheduled. Got to find a time to work with it. It's going to be a fun week. I know on the schedule are a couple of very fun, unique situations that I always love to encounter because it's bringing to the table a different thing instead of the standardized player, the kind of normal fella, the normal, what I call weekend warrior type. Two unique situations. Can't wait to unlock the details in these. This is going to be lots of fun. I get excited for I call them the challenge. They already come to the table telling me certain things, and I'm like, ooh, that's a challenge. I like challenge. Challenge is fun. So digging in, going to be a fun week. Can't wait. Please do everything here for me if you would. It only takes a few moments. Subscribe. Smash thumbs up button. That's the like button. Okay. Smash the like button, subscribe, and share. Please do. Go to the comment section. Tell me what you want to hear about, talk about, learn about, know about, you name it. And also, Twitter. You can reach me there at P45KDG. Email if you don't want to be on the old web. No problem. Private email. P45knuckledowngolf@gmail.com. You can reach out anytime. Get that evaluation started. You cannot make a decision for your future properly if you don't know what's going on throughout your golf swing. If you don't know what's going on in your game, there's a whole lot of stuff to uncover. You got to go through that first step to even have a chance. Set it up. Do yourself a favor. Figure it out. See if it's what you want to do. That's the best way to go about it, folks. So for now, ask me questions. Tell me what you want to talk about. Comment on everything. You name it. Hit me up. Whichever way you feel best. For now, it's Ryan Carpenter, No BS Golf, presented by P45 Knuckle Down Golf. Take care, folks.